Today we're in Mozambique talking to Chess and Pasquale. I met Chess yesterday at a local soccer match between two villages, which was pretty cool. Actually, I'm going to try to add that clip in here because we got to watch the game. There was me and Angie, and then a few people from the camp that are in Chess's program here. And then when the game ended, it was chaos, and everyone ran out of the field. They were screaming, yelling, and we looked very out of place there because we hadn't been to a soccer match before, and we definitely weren't from the village. And it was really fun, and everyone was really nice to us. And Chess explained to me how she started this initiative out here called Save the Oceans, and gave me a lot of background. It wasn't the only initiative. There was dozens of things that you guys have started to do. And so I'm going to ask her a few questions, and hopefully you can tell us sort of what you're working on, where it's going, and what sort of the long-term plan is. So, Chess?
Yeah.
Pasquale? If you could maybe just give me a quick rundown of where in the world we are exactly, because I never get the names right of places we are, especially this one. We'll start from there. Where are we? What is this place called?
This place is called Kinjada.
Kinjada. Yeah.
We're in the Inyoban province.
In the Inyoban province in Mozambique, right along the coastline. You can probably hear and see the ocean in the background. It is a little loud today because of the weather. First of all, you're from here?
Yes, I'm from
Your whole life you lived here?
my heart. I just left for 6 years being young and doing the secondary school.
Doing secondary school there.
Yes.
And what is so great about this part of the world? Why is it so nice here? Why do you like it here?
So this part of the world is do you want to explain first? I can say because it's my home.
Yeah, right. It's your home.
I can say I can just say it's like a good place.
Yeah.
And other people who used to come here, they enjoy. I think it's like a good place, like someone can stay.
Place for people to feel comfortable to stay. Yeah. And Chess, you've been here for 7 or 8 years off and on. So in your opinion, what is so great about being here?
Obviously the ocean is amazing.
Yeah.
So we have incredible animals here. Like just yesterday, we saw a great white shark and a manta ray.
And a manta ray.
Did you know that, by the way? Yes. The students saw a great white shark in the past week. Oh yeah. Yesterday saw a great white shark from one of the fishing boats, and then we saw a manta on our ocean safari, and that's just like
it's just another day, day on the beach here.
So like the marine life is amazing, but out of every country I've ever been to, the people in Mozambique are the best.
The people are amazing here.
Yeah.
We haven't seen nearly as much as you, but the people that I've met so far, like Pasquale, and everyone we've met has been incredibly friendly, which I might add is a very stark contrast from when we were in the lower part of South Africa.
Yeah.
And many people, not many, but a lot of people we met had warned us about Mozambique and how to be careful, and it's really dangerous, and watch where we go, and watch over the border, and we might get robbed, and the police are very corrupt, and everything. I was in the very southern part of South Africa, and what I failed to ask them, which I'd forgotten because I used to get this question a lot about crossing borders, about how bad the neighbors are, is if they'd ever been here. So I don't actually know if any of those people had been to Mozambique before. So when we got to the country, the two of us were a little like on edge about crossing the border and all the people locking our stuff and traveling as a group of 6 or 7 vehicles. And it's been almost exactly the opposite of everything that I was maybe thought it might be. The people have been super warm and welcoming and friendly, and it's been great.
Yeah, I mean, this area in particular is, I feel, super safe. Like, there's never any, like, problems or, like, crime or anything like that.
Yeah.
The community structure here, I feel, means that everyone's super close.
Yeah.
And everything's managed well. What do you think?
Yeah. So it was family. The community live like a family.
The community lives like a family.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we know like each other. So
Yeah.
wherever we ask for someone, it's a easy thing.
Oh, yeah, you ask, hey, where's Pasquale? And someone's going to know where you
Yes.
are. It's probably your friend or whatever. Oh, that's great. So explain to me, if I got the details right, you came here a number of years ago. You were diving?
Yeah.
You saw the way the local life was and how they were doing a lot of netting, and then you knew people had to net to survive, but you thought maybe there might be a better way. You came up with an initiative called Save the Oceans.
Love the ocean.
Sorry,
Close.
oh my god, sorry, I said it wrong.
That's
Love
all
the
good.
oceans.
So yeah, I came here as a second-year marine biologist. I was super green.
Second year marine biologist.
I was super green. Didn't really know anything about Mozambique or about anything happening here. And sharks were like my passion from when I was about 8 years old.
Sharks, wow.
Yeah.
You're from the UK?
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting passion to have.
And I lived at like pretty much the furthest point from the sea in all of the UK.
Oh, wow.
So it was a lot of documentaries and books and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I came here and I saw the fishermen killing a shark, and obviously like I loved sharks from a young age. And so I spent some time, I returned the following year to collect my master's thesis data.
To the same location?
Same exact location, same
Yeah.
community, Pascal's community, like literally here.
Yeah.
And wrote my master's thesis on the sustainability of the shark fin trade, which honestly is not sustainable. Everyone knows that fishing sharks is not sustainable. But I felt it was something I couldn't walk away from. So I started Love the Oceans and met Pascal pretty much immediately. And so we started building different programs together. Pascal now manages like all of the outreach.
She told me yesterday you do everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
And I kind of manage the science side.
So you come in and your help is to educate the locals on maybe a more sustainable perspective?
Yeah, so we try and have everything locally led. So Pascal manages most of the program. I mean, do you want to explain this?
Yeah. So I'm working with the local people because local promotions is here to work with a community.
Yeah, so you're working with the locals, yeah.
So I'm working with the local people.
Yeah.
And when they have some doubts, I try to explain to them because we have an ocean, but we don't know how to manage our ocean.
Well, you have the ocean, but you're not familiar how to manage the ocean. Okay,
Yes.
I understand.
And we were just doing everything just in the wrong way, just trying to feed the ocean.
Yeah, right, everyone's going to feed the family, yeah.
Now we love the ocean, so we can just make things better.
Yeah.
The first step was moving from a net fishing.
Yeah.
The fishermen, they were using the net fish to kill sharks and every fish.
Yeah.
So
So they just put the net in, they would net everything.
everything,
Everything would die.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So then we can't have enough fish in the ocean for the future.
Yeah, right.
So now we are trying to change this.
Yeah.
From net to kayaks.
Yeah.
And also love that it's helping the community in schools.
Yeah.
Because around here we don't have support, the government support in schools.
There's no government support for the schools.
No, they just pay books and teachers. But the classrooms are local material, and we're changing it like every 2 years. But now for local versions, we are doing the good classrooms.
Yeah.
and they told us that if we have enough classrooms, we can grade that some of this school to become a secondary school because the kids now are working long ways to get a secondary school.
So if you just have, in the village, if there's maybe 1 or 2 rooms, it's only good enough for a couple of classes, like small children. But if you have a bunch of rooms, you're going to have more students.
Yes, more students. Yeah, because so they were just going to school up to 13 years,
Yeah.
and they wanted to move to Nyambani. And it's difficult to go to Nyambani
I bet. So
when you're still young. So like, some people they're going to their family because there you have to like explain your family. Then some of them will be in Nyambani,
yeah, right.
and so it's difficult to their parents.
So how far, if they were living here and they were finished school at 13, how far would they have to travel to go to the other school?
So the other school is like 27 kilometers.
27 kilometers.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't work on that. So you have
Yeah.
to move to end stage.
You have to move there just to go to school.
So you have to move to, you have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
leave it because 27 kilometers you can't work.
Yeah, yeah, right, yeah, yeah.
So you have to move. And 27 kilometers in Nyambani. So you have to stay there for the whole week. Then the weekend to come back home. And it was difficult to the parents. Some
Yeah.
of the kids was breaking the schools.
It'd be difficult, it'd be very expensive.
Very
it would
expensive,
be,
yes. So now with a lot of Russians, we are growing in the community,
Yeah.
slowly. Now we have a secondary school, and
Yeah.
this year they get up to like like the whole secondary school. Because secondary school is divided into 2 spaces.
2 different spaces for the
Yeah,
school.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now we have the both.
Okay.
So
18.
yes, up
So-
to 18.
So right now, there's enough space for the children to go to school up to 18.
To up to 18.
And no one has to move.
No one says.
Pretty impressive.
So
So,
I think love the Russian school.
yeah, it's we're above the ocean.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a great story. So let's say there was 2 rooms, and now there's 6 or whatever the number is. Where did all of the money come from to build the school and all of the effort? Because it must have come from somewhere.
So we're not using a man, we're using a local method, the country's
We just built the
And
school.
before the old classrooms.
Yeah.
Those were the old ones.
Do you mean for Love the Ocean?
Yeah. So where did the funding come from to build the school? There was no money used. It was all just sourced from the.
No. For Love the Ocean.
Yeah.
So we're not using that money. So Love the Ocean is that because Love the Ocean it's a non-profit company. It's like
Non-profit, yeah.
So we get the money from sponsors. People donate their money for Love the Ocean,
Yeah.
and Love the Ocean is using that money to help the community.
So we have there's one lodge down, further down, that's been responsible for most of the funding. Catalina Lodge is responsible for most of the funding
Catalina Lodge. Yeah.
for our education projects. So they've been really, really supportive of our work. And essentially, what happens is we have meetings with the chiefs and the elders and understand what needs to be done, and then
Yeah.
we get quotes from builders who are all local as well.
Locals, yeah.
And then we propose that to Catalina and say, this is what needs to be done, this is how much it's going to cost,
Yeah.
and then they support us. Which is
So when you come up with a plan, you have an idea. You're like, oh my god, we should build a bigger school, or we should help with a water project or something like that. You walk in as a lady from Europe, and you're like, this is my idea, let's do it. Or how does it
no,
happen?
definitely not.
Because I feel like that wouldn't go over that well.
No, and also there's a lot, we live in a country that is ex-colonial. White people have been a massive problem here for a really long time. And so it's always, the way that Love the Oceans work is community-led for a reason. We don't want to be, myself, a foreigner coming in and telling someone who's lived there their whole lives how to do something.
Yeah, I'm picturing a white female walking into a village and telling someone what to do.
No,
Not
and
sustainable.
it's not. It's also not ethical.
Yeah.
And so that's where Pascal's massive role has come in. But also, in terms of education, it's more of a knowledge exchange rather than I have a skill set that's useful. I'm a trained scientist, biased.
Yeah.
So from the science element, that's really
That's
where
what you
my kind of where I can help.
Yeah.
So the science informs the conservation action. So the sustainable fishing project that Pascal was talking about with the nets and moving towards the kayak fishing,
Yeah.
that's as a result of the science that we've done here. So we do coral surveys,
Yeah.
and the coral surveys have shown that we don't have enough herbivores in our area, and herbivores are responsible for grazing on algae, and algae competes with coral. So we don't have any herbivores, the algae blooms, the coral dies, and coral reefs are really responsible for like nursery areas of most of the important like food fish, like the commercial species.
Yeah.
And we have more like we have an imbalanced ecosystem between the herbivores and the carnivores, and obviously the carnivores need the herbivores.
Yeah, right.
So this whole chain. And if we cross-reference that with our fisheries data, so we've worked with the fishermen ever since I did my masters 7 years ago, or whatever it was. That data shows that the netting and the spearfishing collects a lot of herbivores, whereas the kayak fishing collects the most carnivores. So the kayak fishing is really what we want people to turn to address that imbalance in the ecosystem. Obviously, this is all just scientific theory of what we hope will happen.
Right.
And so that's where like that community work has been born from. So we try and use evidence-based conservation in our work, and then Pascal pretty much runs and heads up. So if there's something that so the other day I had a meeting with an outside organisation not from here, I think they're American, and I was talking to the lady about the potential of, we have like a list of projects that are all like, maybe this could work, maybe it couldn't, we'll see what happens in the future. And I mentioned that aquaculture is the thing here. So
Great idea.
yeah, so mussel harvesting is really popular. And so in theory, having aquaculture within mussels and oysters could work as a food supplement to fishing and alleviate pressure on the ocean for fishing. But the first thing I did, I got off the call, the first thing I did was speak to Pascal and say, what do you think? And if I say something like based on the science and say like, do you think this will work? Pascal can say like yes or no based on his experience, and then he can also speak to the relevant members of the community. And then we go through like the process of having meetings with the chiefs and the elders and get everyone's views on it and whether it will work, whether it won't work, whether people want it, whether people don't, all of that kind of stuff. And then we put together a rough budget for that, and then we apply for funding for it, and then hopefully we get the money and then we can implement it. And for us, it works the best as well in terms of a robust way of doing it, because if you already have community buy-in before you even apply for the funding, you know that when you get the funding, it can happen. So that's how the funding everything goes.
Okay, so let's just quickly walk through one project that you explained to me yesterday that sounds like it worked, which is the fishing project. So originally people were netting, they were harvesting everything rather than just sort of harvesting what they needed, and the stuff they didn't need would die, and the sharks would die, and everything. It wasn't working that well. So if I understand correctly, your organization built that hut at the end of the beach on there, and inside of there is kayaks and fishing rods. Fishing rods essentially. And your hope is that people come and they rent those for a small fee?
No, so it's free.
It's free. Okay.
So it's free. Basically, the way that works is that we got a lot of our projects we build to be financially sustainable ultimately, but they need like an initial investment of money.
Right.
So this project, the initial investment is in the equipment and the kayaks, so the fishing gear and the kayaks.
Yeah.
Fishing gear is actually the most expensive part, which I didn't know anything about fishing, so that surprised me. But basically, the fishermen, we like register the fishermen, and they give up their current method of fishing, and then they can use a kayak for free. But they pay Gemo, the chief fisherman in the area, like a small fee, and that covers the rental space. So we have to pay for where the building is.
Okay.
We pay maritime for the registration of that building.
Yeah.
And then each kayak has an annual registration fee as well.
Oh, right.
So then that money goes into a pot, and then any extra is left for like more equipment.
And so I would come in, I would give you my net, say I'm done with this, I'm going to try your way out. Hopefully it works. I use the kayak as often as I need to.
Yeah.
Take it out. I'll get the fishing equipment, whatever. I'll catch a fish. I'll sell it on my own businessman, and then I'll keep the money myself.
So ultimately what we want to do is, like, in the long term, because each project that we build generally grows, so there's not really like an end point, it's more like it keeps going and evolves into something else. So with that project, we want to ultimately have, so the fishermen will catch their fish, and then ultimately we want some kind of way of encouraging the restaurants and like the people that buy fish here, so restaurants, tourists, whatever, some way, maybe branding the fish or something where it's recognised that it's from the project, so that when tourists buy their fish, they buy from the project, which encourages more fishermen to partake in the project. We'd also love to build some kind of marketplace where people can come and sell their fish and just make it easier for the fishermen, rather than having, like, at the moment the fishermen have to basically find tourists themselves and sell it themselves, and it's like,
we've bought fish a couple times.
Yeah.
It's very like someone calls someone and that person comes to us with their fish.
Yeah.
Which works great, but if I ever wanted to maybe buy my own fish or want to look at more than one fish, obviously that's a little.
So having some kind of market area or some kind of method where fishermen can like all sell their fish in an easier way. That's really the ultimate aim. And doing so that we address the imbalance in the ecosystem, and tourists can know that they're buying fish that's been sourced sustainably.
Yeah, that's great.
All of that kind of stuff. So there's still growth to be had with that project, and it's also a 6-stage project. So we're in stage 2 now. So the first stage was getting 15 kayaks and talking with the community involved, the pilot stuff, and working out how it's going to work, working out the logistics and the kinks in the road and all that stuff. And then the second stage is scaling it up, so getting 30 kayaks in Vinjata. And then we actually work across, so we call it Jangamo Bay, but there's 2 other bays that we work across, which is Pandani and Coconut. And so the next stage is doing the same with Pandani, one stage pilot, second stage growth. Same with Coconut. So it's actually a 6-stage project, and we do more or less one stage a year, but we're actually holding off this year to see how, now we've scaled up, see how it works in Vinjata and how that happens. But ultimately there's a lot of growth to be had in the project, and the idea is, with everything we do at Love the Oceans, is that we do it in a way that can be replicated, not necessarily by us, but if other NGOs want to do it, either in Mozambique or in other countries with similar...
This is the model, it's working.
Yeah, and this is how we did it, and this is the finances that you need to do it. The manta ray.
Oh my god, that's an amazing shot of a manta.
Yeah.
Oh, if you could put that in there, that'd be great.
Yeah, I can send it to you.
Oh, so good.
Great.
It's great. How long we're diving?
Yeah, exactly.
We easily go to
But it was the
Manta
drone.
Rays.
We wouldn't have seen it without the drone. I had the drone going in front of the boat, and then I literally got to the point where I wasn't seeing anything with the drone, and I thought maybe I was just bad at spotting things. And then I was like, wait, no. And I went down and was like, Manta! And then I just showed Chico the skipper, and I was like, look, here's the boat, here's the manta, and Chico was like, shoo!
Oh, great. That's amazing.
So good.
Okay, so let's talk Prince Harry. I heard there was a Prince Harry story somewhere in this
Meghan Markle. It's more a Meghan Markle story.
A Meghan Markle story,
I'm a big Meghan Markle fan. I know that she's very controversial, but...
as controversial as you want. There's many things controversial.
So in 2019... It's 2019, maybe. Yeah, 2019. It was really random. So there was this thing that popped up on our Instagram that a couple of our followers tagged us in, and it said... but the thing is that you have to understand in high season, our high season, July, August, because we get a lot of our funding from donations, but also through tourist trips. And July, August is our peak tourism time. So we're running around, busy, don't really have time for online stuff. Because we're just doing stuff on the ground. And so I literally was shoving food in my face in my house, and was just had 2 seconds and just quickly opened my phone, and I saw a couple of notifications, so I was like, okay, and I clicked on it and it said like tag your force for change, and it was a blue background, so I assumed, I didn't clock that it was royal blue,
Yeah,
but I
right.
assumed that it blue marine
Yeah.
something.
That's
It was
us.
probably like a marine organisation that tagged us. I didn't even click on it. I just shared it on our Instagram stories and said like, go tag us, or to our followers.
Yeah.
And then forgot about it because it was just this
Just a little of a snack here,
Yeah.
do some quick texting.
And then, like a month later, I was again shoving food in my face. This
Yeah.
is a
So,
thing that happened.
it sounds like it's lucky. You should eat more.
Yeah. And like picked up my phone and so many notifications. And I was like scrolling back through Instagram, like back, trying to work out what had happened. And an account called Sussex Royal had tagged us in something. And I clicked on it and it was like 15 global grassroots forces for change. Because the way that we operate is very grassroots.
Yep, very grassroots.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm not from here, but Pascal does like so much for the community.
Yeah.
And all the projects are locally led and all the rest of it. And so I saw this and I was like, wait, what? And I clicked on Sussex Royal, still didn't clock it. I said Duke and Duchess of Sussex, still didn't clock it. I googled Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
Is this again?
And
Yeah.
then it was Meghan and Harry. And obviously I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. So I ran down to the staff and I was like, guys, like this has just happened, what? And everyone like lost their minds for like a couple of days. But it was kind of crazy because we have no
So-
media training. Like,
So
we're
Meghan and Harry tagged you as one of the 15
global grassroots forces for change.
to change.
Yeah, and then
Amazing.
and then at the time we were running a fundraiser for our swimming project. So that's another thing.
We'll get to that right after this, yeah.
But,
That's a good story.
So we have a swimming project, and we were raising money to build a community pool. And Megan had been watching our online fundraiser, and she just donated the remaining amount, which was quite a sizable sum. Because when we do crowdfunding, it's not the most successful. We're a small organisation.
Yeah,
it's
right.
quite difficult to like get people to just chip in enough for like things to.
Yeah.
And so she like donated the remaining amount, and she gave us a call and said
Should you call?
yeah,
Oh, nice.
appreciated the work that we do, and
Oh, that's amazing.
so it was incredible. So now we're currently we're doing the planning, commissioning, and that's pretty cool. Because the pandemic hit
Yeah, right.
pretty much straight after, and all the pools were shut for like 2 years, so
Here's-
there was no point in
Here's the
doing
catch: no funding, but you can build the pool. Oh wait, they have the funding, but you can't build the
it.
pool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, little catches along the way. Hey, Pascal, there's a whole documentary about you, about your story. That sounds quite amazing. So, if I understand correctly, you went from not being able to swim at all to dive instructor,
No, dive,
Swim
advanced
respect.
diver.
advanced diver, sorry, to helping others learn how to swim and building a pool.
Yes.
So how did that how did this come from here to here? You just wanted to learn how to swim, and once you got in the water, you couldn't get enough of it.
If you believe yourself, you can do everything.
If you believe yourself, you can do everything.
Yeah.
You need a T-shirt with your
yay!
picture on it that says that, and you swimming.
Yes,
And so, where did you learn to swim? You learned to swim in the ocean here, or in a pool here?
in the pool. So we were asking in the pool to Pleasure Bay.
Was your bay?
Yes, in Thailand. So it's where I swim. Then after that, I had to start snorkeling.
Snorkeling, yeah.
Yeah, and in the following year, Adam came back again and it taught me to be like swimming straight.
Yeah. And sorry, like, what age is this? How old are you when this is happening?
So I started with 26. I think
26, first time swimming.
Well-
it was 23 starting to swimming.
Okay.
Then I do
Yeah.
swimming straight in 26.
Until 26. And then you learned how to snorkel, and then you wanted to learn how to dive.
That, yes.
Oh, how was the diving experience? It must have been amazing.
No, it's looking like a new world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course, or just only notice it from outside, but nothing inside.
Yeah,
But when I've been there with the coral stars and all those things, was was losing, but now I'm here.
Yeah, right.
And that was very good.
Very good experience.
It's one thing that made the other people not asking to learn to dive too.
Yeah.
I have some teachers diving, so
Yeah.
if they see it, if he did, we can do it.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great story.
Yeah.
So when you were growing up here,
Yes.
how many of your friends could swim or knew how to swim?
When I was growing up,
Say you had 10 friends, how many of your 10 friends could
No.
swim? None of them.
no.
Living by the ocean, no one knew how to swim.
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so right now you're working on trying to teach
Yeah.
children to swim.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we had a lot of guns.
A lot of drownings.
Yes.
Oh, no.
It's difficult to learn how to swim in the ocean. These oceans, like to say, has a current. So,
Yeah, right.
yes, so it's difficult to learn how to swim in the ocean. So it's easy to learn in the pool because in a pool there's a different stage. And
Yeah.
when you feel tide, you can stand.
Yeah.
But it's a different between the ocean.
Yeah, for sure.
So now with this project of swimming pools, I think like more than 7% will learn how to swim, and it will be easy.
More than 70%.
More than 7% will
Yeah.
learn how to swim. Because now it's fun. For now, who know how to swim, it's a spear fisherman
Yeah, right.
only that.
Yeah.
But the rest of us,
And so now that you're offering swimming lessons, are children interested in learning or not really? Or you have to force
Yeah.
them?
interested, and
Well,
they
what to
are
learn?
asking now with this with this pandemic.
Yeah.
They were just asking, and I was just telling them, we can't do nothing now. Everything's shut down.
Great time to learn to swim.
Yes, yeah, they were asking because some of the kids they were getting better.
Yeah.
And some was still starting, but everyone's asking for it.
Yeah.
I think whenever we finish the pool, we'll be busy.
Yeah, I bet. So if there was no pool before, where would you learn how to swim?
So we asked operations asked the Pine Dive. So it's where
Pine Lodge?
Pine Dive it's a
Pleasure
pleasure.
Bay.
Done. Oh, at Pleasure Bay. Okay, right.
So it's where
And that's where the kids have been learning ever
yes,
since.
yes.
And then they shut down during the pandemic.
Everything shut down in the
Yes.
And so where's the proposed new location of the pool?
So now we are going to the community.
What's going to be in the community?
Yes.
Oh,
so
great.
to be easy, because now we're driving the kids to Pine Dive and driving them back.
Yeah.
So if we build the pool in the community, they can walk.
Yeah.
And walk back. So it's
Basically, like we had probably the example I use is that
Then-
cousins. Basically, there was 3 cousins, and this is like just an example, but it's like it will happen with a lot of families. So 3 cousins all wanted to learn to swim, 3 girls.
Yeah.
And we had to have parental permission, obviously, for them to learn to swim because it's under 18s. And the parents had given permission to see. So they turned up to swimming lesson and they were on the back of the car. And I saw their mum walking up, and she said that she couldn't have all 3 go because they're gone the whole afternoon because Dani's quite fast, so we do 1 drive with all the kids and then 1 drive at the end of the,
Alright.
at the end of the afternoon. And she needed 2 to stay behind the chores and 1 could come. And so then they'd be on a 3-week rotation.
Right.
Whereas with the community pool, they could walk, do their half-hour lesson, walk back.
Yeah.
And we could get through all 3 girls in 1 afternoon.
Amazing.
And obviously, in terms of like skills and learning swimming, 1 lesson every 3 weeks versus a lesson every week is a huge difference.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Attention,
so, yeah, exactly. So it just completely changes how many kids we can teach and how regularly kids can come to lessons
Yeah.
as well.
That sounds amazing. That sounds a great project. Okay, let's switch gears again. I have a completely different question. Let's talk menstrual cups. If you could explain to me what you explained to me yesterday, because it's something that maybe because I'm a man, but I feel like most people wouldn't be aware of the fact that how it affects a female's education. school in a small village that might not operate like it does in the world where I come from. So what is happening with women when they got their period, and what is the hopeful solution that's going to better their education?
Do you want to explain that?
If you would mind explaining to me like the literacy, we went to slide like just a little smidge.
Yeah.
If you would mind explaining maybe like the literacy rate as well.
Yeah, so there's a high illiteracy rate
Sorry,
here.
literacy rate, okay.
So the illiteracy rate's about 50% generally, and then about 75% in women.
Yeah.
So
75% literacy in women and 50% in men. Oh.
Yeah. Education is like that's part of the reason that we do the education projects that Pascal was talking about earlier, is because if you can read and write, you're more likely to get a job, and if you can get a job, then you're more likely to be able to get yourself out of poverty and have that financial headspace to think about conservation. So it all comes back to conservation.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're a marine conservation organisation.
You're a lot of things. Well, it sounds like you're a pool business, you're fishing, you're marine conservation, you're women's
our
education.
umbrella is marine conservation. And so basically in our swimming lessons, we noticed that there are almost no girls when it comes to like age 12, 13 and above.
Yeah.
It's very much boy dominated. And so obviously the questions that arose were why is that, and that's because of lack of ways to manage their periods that enable them to swim, young girls, young women. And basically if you combine that with like the meetings that we have with the chiefs and the elders, there aren't many women involved in those meetings, and the meetings that we have generally about conservation and within the marine space. Like, so when I say the marine space, I mean like not just diving, but also like fishing. There are no women fishermen, or anything like that. And that if you trace back why, if you keep asking yourself why, it basically comes back to lack of access to menstrual products. And so within that, like some girls, when they start their periods, they don't go to school for that week that they're on their period, which obviously means that's 12 weeks less education a year.
Yeah, well, 3 months less education.
3 months less education than their male counterparts. Also, there, according to our surveys, there's not a lot of education around like reproduction and how that links with the menstrual cycle.
Yeah.
And having sex out of wedlock is not taboo, but getting pregnant out of wedlock is.
Having sex out of wedlock is not taboo. Getting pregnant out of wedlock is taboo.
Yeah. So basically, girls can have sex, but if they get pregnant, they have to get married. So girls are getting pregnant at like 14, 15 and getting married like really young. And once they have babies, traditionally their responsibility is looking after the kids and looking after the farm. So in order to give women more options, there needs to be more discussions around menstrual products and opportunities for people to have different options, essentially, as well as obviously contraception, which is further down the line in this project. But essentially, at the moment, we're still in the research phase, so that's headed up by a lady called Edna Lumba and a lady called Racine Kusua. Racine is actually one of the chiefs in the area.
Oh, nice.
And they had that project up. So essentially we're in survey phase. So we're surveying lots of women, working out what products are used, what aren't used, and what they would like to see happen.
Yeah.
And on one of the first meetings that we had, because we have regular meetings where we go through surveys and stuff, one of the first meetings we had, I brought down a menstrual cup. We had a spare one. I brought down a menstrual cup.
Spare menstrual cup, yeah.
And I brought it out. And for people watching that might not know what a menstrual cup is, basically it's literally a cup that you insert and it collects the blood, and then you can literally empty it out and put it back in. And in terms of hygiene, all you have to do is boil it, so it's super easy to like keep clean. And then obviously you need to insert it and take it out with clean hands.
And what's the other method that the women in the villages use?
So
what would be a normal?
It would be rags normally.
Rags.
One of the ladies said that she used Vatapa.
Vatapa, which is like that's a leaf basically ground up.
And yeah, like basically mostly rags. So it's a giant leap to menstrual cups, and I actually thought that most people would say like, no, this is not really my jam. But I just wanted them to know. I also brought tampons and pads and stuff, and I wanted them to know the options.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, like 75% of the women in the surveys said that they would be interested in a menstrual cup.
75%.
Yeah.
Wow. From a giant leap to we're on board.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like one fell swoop. But this is also why it's so important to have all of our initiatives locally led, because that conversation would have been the same if it was me having that conversation.
Yeah, sure. It would have been a tough door to open, I think.
And like Edna and Messina are just really good at their jobs, and they just know how to talk about these things.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility for the future. At the moment, we're in the phase of just compiling all the surveys. We have a potential partner and donor interested in the project, which is great. And so once we've worked out how much of each product we need, then we go from there in terms of the funding and implementing it.
It's a lot going on.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's a great story. Okay, the weather's getting a little bit worse, so I'll ask you a few more questions here. I'll let you guys get back to your day of whatever you plan to do in the rain, which should be lovely. So I also met a few people since we've been here at this Palm Resort. Mostly like students or youth. I think they're all from the UK, the ones I've met, and they're all here working on something too. So what are they doing here?
So we run expeditions.
Yeah.
So we're partnering with a bunch of different universities, and then we also run like field tours and expeditions as well.
Yeah.
And so those students are actually here on part of their second year marine biology placement.
Second year marine biology placement.
Yeah.
What a great spot for it.
Yeah, it's pretty
Wow.
cool. Although it is usually more sunny than this.
Yeah. It's been sunny every day we've been here, but today basically.
But yeah, so they are here helping collect data. So they receive training in the first week that they're here, and then they help with all the data collection. So that can look like coral surveys, fisheries surveys, ocean trash, marine megafauna, turtles, although not at this time of year, we finish the turtles. Fisheries, corals, ocean trash, marine megafauna, turtles. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
So they help out with all that stuff. Usually they would help with
Whales. But not like whales, palace.
Oh yeah.
With what, sorry?
Whales.
Oh, the whales. Oh yeah, we miss whale and turtle season. Yeah.
So usually they'll help out with that stuff. Sometimes they help out with educational outreach projects, swimming as well, because they assist us with our teaching.
Yeah.
But we're just waiting for vaccination rates and community approval to start that.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So if someone's staying here or staying close by and they've heard about your project and they want to donate, is anyone just like donating locally or fund locally?
Yeah, definitely. We're open to funding from anywhere.
Yeah.
So if people want to donate, they can do so. They can do so online. So they can do that internationally on our website.
Yeah.
We also have, which is lovetheoceans.org.
Lovetheoceans.org.
And then we also have a wish list on there. So if people want to buy physical things rather than like money, then they can do that too.
Yeah.
Amazon wish list. And then we also have, and we can also take like in-person donations as well. So if people are like within Mozambique and they want to come and visit, then that's perfectly possible too. And then all of the money from the expeditions as well, any leftover funds, they go straight into the conservation research.
Yeah.
Well.
So someone donates funds to you directly, it goes into the conservation research.
Yeah, so they can choose a specific project if they want.
Yeah.
So we have people that just donate to the education project or just donate to the sustainable fishing project or the women's health project. They can choose like a pot of funding that they want it to go into, or they can just donate to the organisation and we'll allocate it to whatever is needed most at that point.
Sounds great. Okay, well, I'll tell you a very quick story. So every year at Christmas time, our family puts names in a hat because Christmas gets so crazy. I don't know if it's the same here, but where I'm from, Christmas is like a big deal and everyone buys gifts for everyone, and it's a little out of control sometimes. So because there's so many people in my family, instead of everyone buying gifts for everyone, what we usually do is we'll put like a name in a draw. You pick out someone's name and they just buy for one person. So whatever it is. So for example, my wife's family this year, there's her mom, her dad, her sister, and then the two husbands, me and her, and my brother-in-law. And they would have to choose one person. You get like $100 maximum, so it's not so crazy for that part of the money. And then you just pick a gift and buy it from whatever. So I said to them, I'm like, I got so much stuff. I don't need a thing. I just want to go on a holiday and that's it. And so I said, instead of that, can I just have the $100? And when we go somewhere, I'll just give it to somebody and they can do whatever they want with it as long as it's for something good. So what I thought I was going to do is that we were going to meet someone, like somewhere along the way, in like a village or a town, and say to their project, well, I'll give it to your project.
Oh,
how does that sound?
Thank you. That would be amazing.
Okay, I don't know if you can spend like USD directly or if I have to convert it, but
No, we'll convert it. It's fine.
that is the Christmas cash
Oh my goodness.
that we got.
Thank you.
That's from my wife's mother. She gave me for Christmas, and I'm like, I promise you, I'll find a better place for this than you can find at home, and I'll give it to somebody who needs it. So
Thank you so much.
it's not the royal donation, but it might help.
Every little bit makes a difference, especially with a grassroots organisation like ours. Like,
This is a grassroots donation.
yeah, but we work on our budgets for every project are so tight, and we do a lot on very little cash.
Yeah.
So money like this goes a really long way.
I think it's only like 6,000 or something.
Yeah.
It should be okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. It's I think it's a great story. Like yesterday, you told us at the soccer game. You just keep like coming up with more information. And you're like, oh, I forgot to mention we're working on this fishing initiative. Oh, I forgot to mention we're teaching students. Oh, by the way, women's health initiative. Oh, and we have some money for a pool. And I'm like, oh my god, I forgot to mention you just started this 4 years ago.
2015.
2015. Oh, 7 years ago. So,
Yeah.
and how old are you?
I'm 28. He's 29.
28 and 29. You knew this for 7 years. So 20. We're not about 22 and 23.
Yeah. He's 30.
Oh, you're 30 now.
Birthday.
Oh, nice. That's not that old.
I'm almost 29. We're 1 year apart.
That's great. Yeah, I think it's a very amazing, very inspirational story for a lot of people who, like myself, who like to travel and actually can like see how you make a difference when you're on the ground. If you're not just taking something when you're maybe traveling, when you're leaving something behind. Sounds like this will be a very long-term project that will last forever. And it sounds like you have the right initiatives together where it's two ideas that are coming together, work for the community, and hopefully somebody watches this, they'll want to get involved too and come and donate. And I think Mozambique's a great part of the planet. I'm very impressed. The people are so friendly. It's amazing. I could not believe how friendly the people were. There's not an objective. They're just like, hey, how are you? You need something? You want some help? And I'm like, I'm good. I think we're good.